6 months after you're born, you're pretty much your blueprint's done. The majority of it is
whenever
done
God said so.
too. So. That's right.
Yeah,
whenever
so
God said so.
And see, the thing is, it doesn't make sense for people to be able to regrow limbs. It hasn't been like favored by natural selection in order to do that because we haven't needed that.
Well, you prepared a lot more than I would have, because I wrote down my rebuttal to what I would have said to can you regrow limbs. I would have said, fuck no, because if it turned out to be cabbage and salt juice, the world would feel like a complete waste of time. There are people who are researching cancer drugs, and if it all came down to just cabbage and salt, I think we would have to put our scientists to shame. Mel, we would have to shun you. We'd have to shun you.
You'd have to shun me. And I have studied cancer.
Would we have to put them on a horse with a big cartoon mask over their head, sitting backwards, and slap them into the desert?
No, I
like in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones with the bell. Shame. I'm just that's me, man.
Shame.
Is my name.
So I guess I should wait and ask this question, but I'm not going to because I'll probably forget it. But if all of these claims that we're getting into, how does she square that cabbage juice and salt are the answers to make all of these particular things happen in the body?
You want to go first, Jeff? Because I have stuff and things, but that's up to you. You go first if you want.
A lot of it comes down to, and again, it's when you're getting into like her books and her videos and her blogs and that sort of thing, it tends to change around quite a bit. But I think I nailed down her core ideology, the reason why she believes this. And it all comes down to fungus. Her core belief system revolves around beneficial fungus and bacteria inside the body. She even has I gave her the catchphrase. I don't know if she should use it, and she should make T-shirts. Jillian, I'm telling you, you could make so much money. I would buy one. Reprogram your fungus. Make those T-shirts. I will buy one. The basic idea is that incorrect information. No. It's hers. Dude, I'm such a bad salesman. I swear to God. I want her to do it because at least that'll be an honest way to make some money. So the big way that she believes this is that there's incorrect information or blueprints or directions being given your fungus, and this causes like an explosion of bad candida, because there's good candida and bad candida in her world, and that causes not only cancer, disease, chronic illness, but also aggression, feelings of bigotry, feelings of hatred, and homosexuality. So
that would be blueprint.
That's right.
I have interesting stuff that she says about homosexuality. It's me.
Yes.
But her drink stuff. Okay. So she cites at one point in this particular book how she talks about the need of electrolytes and that it's extremely important to pump this into your body, like massive amounts of salt. You got to get all of that in there. And you also have to have all of these electrolytes. And so she says at one point, and I'm quoting from her book, just so you know. I'm quoting from her book.
Oh, joy.
She goes and, okay, so I'll just read this and let you guys, think about this, and then I'll say my thoughts. A plain saltwater flush is definitely not as effective in the healing and purging process. Saltwater flushes only induce the gut to purge out the contents of the intestines, also known as the laxative effect. In the process, a few trace minerals do enter the body. Saltwater flushes will energize an immunocompromised body, thus highlighting the body's idiosyncrasy. She uses bigly words. And I'll be honest, when I was reading this whole thing, it felt like I was reading a giant Donald Trump tweet. So, and then she goes through.
That's a burn, too.
This is why high blood pressure has continuously been associated with a high sodium diet. Cardiovascular issues get highlighted with some individuals who also take in a high sodium diet. The sodium did not cause the high blood pressure. And this is what she says. She says, medical professionals commonly give incoming patients a massive amount of electrolytes, including sodium chloride, magnesium, calcium, water to rehydrate them in an emergency situation. So she's thinking if you pump lots of salt in you, that should be fantastic. But what she doesn't understand is something called a hypertonic solution. If you pump lots of freaking salt water into your body, you have a high salt content. Okay, and by the way, when she mentions electrolytes, I really wanted to ask her what she thought they were because I didn't think she knew. There's sodium, chloride, potassium, magnesium, calcium, phosphate, and bicarbonate. These are all different types of electrolytes. They're positively and negatively charged, and it doesn't matter. The fact that they're ions, they're going to attract water out of cells because water is what you call a polar molecule. You have positive and negative portions of water. And so that's going to pull all the water out of your cells. It's going to increase the amount of water in your bloodstream, which is increasing your blood pressure, which is also increasing your risk for stroke, heart attack, and kidney failure. So if you're increasing the amount of salt in your diet, you're sucking all the water out of your cells and your kidneys are going, what are you doing? And then all you're doing is pooping out massive amounts of water that have come out of your cells. You're dehydrating yourself across the board all over. It's terrible. But she thinks because, well, they give you lots of electrolytes in the hospital, more is better. Not in this case, no. It's measured amounts.
Real quick, this although that's shocking news, this does go a long way in explaining why after her cancellation email, I got the impression that she was a little bit of a salty bitch. So this makes sense.
She needs some extra
water. I should have drank out of my "Don't be a salty bitch" coffee mug today. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. If you need electrolytes, drink a Gatorade, guys.
Yeah.
Drink a Gatorade or Powerade if you
Pedialyte. Honestly, Pedialyte
a Dr.
sugar.
Fizz.
The sugar is not good for you.
Pedialyte is great.
The sugar can contribute to bad things.
Gatorade, Mel, or an entire container of Morton salt.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know what I'm going with.
Oh my goodness, you might as well do that if you know with the Jilly Juice thing. Just drink a container of salt water. We should have asked her, why can't you drink ocean water? Because it's like the same, you know?
I did that one time. I was swimming and me and my brother were on a boogie board and he you know that you ever play Mortal Kombat where Liu Kang does that little speed kick around?
Yes.
Like out of nowhere, he just starts doing that right in my gut. And I took in it felt like a bucket full of salt water. And I haven't ever been the same since. It's probably why I'm gay now. It probably had the reverse.
That's probably it.
That's right.
So
by the
Mel,
way, the seawater reprogrammed your fungus and made you gay.
I think so.
So
and,
Mel,
you know what, I just have one quick thing to say, Casey, and then you can ask your question. This isn't a question. I was asked by somebody if it can cure being gay, and I guess that's where we'll go next after Casey's question. But if it can cure you being gay, what would you have to drink in order to cure being bisexual? And I told them half of the dose.
Half the dose. I wonder if it could make me gay. That's the thing. That would be really
Casey.
cool if I could be gay for a while.
So in the chat, it's asked by the NonSequitur Show, but it's actually Steve, the other lovely co-host on the channel. Hi, Steve. He says imbalances in electrolytes can lead to heart attack, arrhythmia, and death. Can they not?
However, Steve, if you die, you can always come back because that's possible.
Okay, so imbalances in that. All right, so if we look at Karen Carpenter, right, her situation, she was bulimic and anorexic. And so she lost so much weight and she threw up so much. You can have an imbalance because a lot of your electrical system in your body is based on what we call the sodium potassium pump. So if you don't have enough sodium, if you don't have enough potassium, your electrical impulses can be kind of erratic, which can cause you to have issues with your heart. And coincidentally, she died of a massive heart attack because of those imbalances. She couldn't eat a lot because she had been starving herself for so long. When she did eat, she threw up, and you lose electrolytes that way. Even with diarrhea, you lose electrolytes that way. So it's important to kind of maintain a healthy balance. But if you overdo it on that point and you introduce too much of any kind of ion, whether it's You can overdo it with the electrolytes. You can cause yourself to get kidney stones if you drink nothing but Gatorade all day, because it's going to collect. It's going to crystallize somewhere, and usually in your kidneys, and those are extremely painful. So you have to make certain if you are drinking Gatorade, you're drinking water too, to kind of compensate for the potential crystallization.
There's also the there's also the problem with hypernatremia. It was one of the big things that I asked a couple of biology friends about, you know, the protocol and how much like they're taking in, and what hypernatremia means, having that much salt. And it's just like you were saying, the sodium potassium pump. Like, our body requires a very strict type of homeostasis. There's some wiggle room, but there's a lot less than most people think. And so when you have severe hypernatremia, I mean, your cells are literally pumping themselves out to try and balance how, like, that much fucking salt in your body. You know, it literally will make your brain start to shrink. It's
I mean, you're pulling water out of your body. I mean, and so the best, when I've taught, so I've taught biology and chemistry, and I'm currently teaching, I'm out in the academia again. One of the things I associate, I'm like, if you want to know what it's like to have like super salty stuff, after you eat chips, you feel like your mouth is like freaking dry because all the water has left your tongue. And you're like, oh God, I've eaten so many chips. I'm so thirsty. Why do you think that is? You've drawn out all of the water from your cells. And so if you're ingesting a large amount of salt, your body has to process that. It's going to go in the way that you ingest it. It goes through certain type of metabolic type of pathways where you have to go, and it'll pass through your digestive system, but you're still drawing out everything there. You're not really killing parasites. You're wrecking your normal cells. And you could be, she talks about gut bacteria a lot. If you're altering the salt content in your intestines and stuff, where you have your natural bacteria, you could be causing problems there as well. So it's not just, you know, I saw they had a medical doctor, and Dr. Phil talking about, this is bad. And she's like, yeah, I don't believe you so much. I know more than you do. And it's funny because I have a funny thing in here that I read that she said about how she knows more than people who went to school, but that's okay. So, but it's just, it's funny because this entire manifesto she has is called What is Normal? And apparently it's some kind of response to an investigation that was done by the Ohio Attorney General, Michael DeWine, I'm not certain. And it's a docket number 548642. If you want to check it out, it's on her website. I've been picking through it and having many belly laughs with some of this stuff. I wouldn't actually laugh if she was on the show because I'm not rude like that. But now that she's not here and just chickened out, I'm totally gonna rip it apart, man. I
feel like we've triggered you, Mel. I feel like we've maybe done a disservice to you, because I feel like introducing you to this is gonna cause you to go in different areas that you don't need to. I mean, I'm sorry, you did it for research purposes,
But it's a good thing. It's a good thing, like, to have people out there that are debunking stuff like this, alternative medicine stuff that totally doesn't work. It's really a good thing to have people out there debunking it. Like Shannon Q had a guy on her channel who was trying to promote his alternative medicine shit that apparently fixes everything, and she not lost it, but she was very aggressive with him about how dangerous that is. And this stuff is dangerous. So I think it's important to talk about it.
This is. Woman had too many strokes because of it. I had so many questions for her. I wasn't going to be rude. I was going to let her say her piece. And then what I like to do with people like that is find out, what do you know? And so I would have asked her questions, like guiding questions, to kind of find out what her limit of knowledge is and say, okay, why do you think this is what it is? That's how I usually handle when I debunk situations like that. It's not out of
I feel like
rudeness.
you would have had a stroke though, Mel. I feel like if she was here, you would have had a stroke. That would have caused you to have a stroke.
No. I probably would have ended it laughing, but you know, I do have stuff I can talk about it here. So.
Salt will cause your brain to shrink, right? This is not good news at all, because certainly the people who are buying this product